They never tell you that the hardest part of a stroke isn't learning to walk again. It's learning how to be yourself again. When I first woke up in that hospital bed, I thought recovery meant fighting to move my body, to speak, to think clearly, but I was wrong. The real battle began after I went home, when I realized the world around me had changed. And so had I. Friends who once called every day started calling less. Conversations felt awkward, quiet, like everyone was afraid of saying the wrong thing. I wanted to tell them how scared I was, how lonely it felt to lose pieces of myself. But every time I did, the room fell silent. It's strange people cheer for your recovery, but they don't know what to do with your pain. So you learn to smile, to say I'm fine, even when you're not. This isn't a story about sadness. It's about understanding that healing isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's social. It's learning how to reach out again when your voice shakes. Because after a stroke, life doesn't end, it just begins differently. Before the stroke, life moved fast, maybe too fast. I woke up early every day, rushed to work, answered messages before breakfast, and somehow felt proud of being always busy. My friends and I would joke about how we never had time for ourselves. We thought it was normal, a sign of success. Even, I used to laugh loud, plan weekends, make promises like we should catch up soon, and we meant it. Back then, we really did. There was always another project, another dinner, another reason to postpone rest. My body whispered for a pause, but I didn't listen. Sometimes, when I felt dizzy or exhausted, I'd tell myself it was just stress, nothing serious. I'll sleep better tomorrow, I said, like I always did. Looking back now, I realize how fragile everything was, how easily life can shift in a single heartbeat. There were signs, quiet warnings, but I ignored them because I thought I was fine. I thought nothing could stop me, until the morning it did, until the moment my body stopped listening. And everything I'd built came crashing down in seconds. Life before the stroke wasn't perfect, but it was mine. And losing it so suddenly, that's something you never forget. Sometimes I still dream about that old life, the noise, the laughter, the rush, but now I understand. Maybe slowing down was never a weakness. It was a warning I needed to hear. The stroke happens. It happened on an ordinary morning, nothing special, nothing unusual. I was making coffee, scrolling through my phone, half thinking about my schedule. Then suddenly, the mug slipped from my hand. I tried to pick it up, but my fingers didn't move. My arm felt heavy, strange, like it belonged to someone else. I remember trying to speak, to call for help, but the words came out wrong, broken, meaningless. My voice didn't sound like mine. In that moment, everything slowed down. My thoughts were clear, but my body betrayed me. I could see the world moving, yet I couldn't move with it. The sound of the cup hitting the floor echoed in my mind louder than it should have been. That sound became the moment everything changed. Half my face went numb, my right side wouldn't move. I wanted to scream, but all that came out was silence. I could hear the ticking clock, the distant cars outside, the faint hum of the refrigerator. The world kept going while I stood still. Somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered, "This is it. This is happening." But I didn't want to believe it. I thought of my friends, of messages I hadn't answered, of all the small things I kept saying I'd do tomorrow. Suddenly, tomorrow felt too far away. The fear wasn't loud, it was quiet, heavy, like the weight of understanding too late. And then, everything faded to black. When I opened my eyes, everything felt distant. The lights too bright, the air too cold, the voices around me muffled. Like I was underwater. I tried to move, but nothing responded. My right arm felt like stone. My mouth wouldn't form words. Panic rose before I even understood what had happened. Then I heard it. A doctor's calm voice, "You've had a stroke, but you're alive. You're lucky." Those words hit me harder than the stroke itself. Alive. Lucky. Two words I had never truly thought about before. The days after were a blur of machines, white walls, and faces filled with worry. Every blink felt like a reminder I was still here, but not the same. I couldn't walk. I couldn't write. Even smiling felt foreign. I had to relearn everything from holding a spoon to saying my own name clearly. There were moments of frustration, tears I didn't want anyone to see, but in between those moments came gratitude. Gratitude for breath, for touch, for the nurse who smiled even when I couldn't. For the first time in years, I realized how fragile and how precious life truly is. Maybe surviving wasn't just luck. Maybe it was a second chance one I was meant to take. Recovery and hope. Recovery wasn't easy. Every morning began with small battles, lifting a spoon, moving a finger, standing for just 10 seconds. What used to take seconds now took hours, sometimes. It felt like time itself had slowed down to test my patience. There were days I wanted to quit. The pain, the frustration, the loneliness, they all whispered, "You'll never be the same again." But then, a small victory would happen. I'd move a finger, take one step, say one full word, and suddenly, hope returned. I began to realize recovery wasn't about becoming who I was, but accepting who I am now. Friends visited, some cried, some smiled nervously, and for the first time, I didn't need to hide my weakness. I let them see it, because maybe strength isn't about never falling, but about standing up again and again, no matter how slow it takes. One morning, I looked out the window, the same world, but somehow it felt new. I wasn't just alive, I was truly living. And that's when I knew maybe the stroke didn't end my life, maybe it gave me another one. If you've survived a stroke, you've already won one of life's hardest battles, but survival is only the beginning. The real journey is learning how to live again with patience, gratitude, and courage. It's okay to feel broken sometimes. It's okay to cry, to miss your old self, to wish life were easier, but don't let that pain convince you that your story is over. Because every breath you take, every small step you make, that's proof you're still writing it. And to those who haven't experienced it, remember, stroke survivors don't need your pity. They need your patience, your understanding, your presence. Sometimes, the most powerful medicine isn't found in hospitals, it's found in kindness. So if you know someone fighting to recover, remind them gently they are not alone. Healing may be slow, but it's still happening. And maybe, one day, they'll look out the window just like I did and realize the sunrise never left.